Good evening, yogis. My name is Daniel. This is Daniel Lee Yoga. Thank you for joining me for practice today. Today is July 3rd, it's Friday. We'll have a level 2 focus class, 60 minutes Vinyasa focused. And this week we've been working on hamstrings and hip flexors, both strengthening and stretching each one. And so we'll be building off of what we worked on Monday and Wednesday with our fundamental and our level 1 class. So with the level 2 class, we'll definitely involve a little bit more advanced postures, more movement focused, and we'll still offer some modifications. So if you're a little bit newer or want to have different options, you'll still be safe here. As far as props, what you'll need, 2 blocks if you have them handy. Not totally necessary, but for a couple things we'll be doing, they might be helpful. So if you just have them, just keep them handy. Um, Actually, place them up at the top of your mat for now. I'm not going to use the strap today, not specifically, but if you typically have one, you can keep that nearby. As far as anything else, I don't think I have any other announcements. It is warm in my room today. It's a very warm day in Baltimore. I'm not sure where you're watching from, but my room's a little bit warm, so I might start sweating and I might have to catch my breath a couple times, but that's okay. I'll get a good workout in. So I hope you all will enjoy this class. I've got Oliver and Coney. You might be able to see them off to the side here, my buddies. They're just chilling, so they might wake up, but they're kind of melting right now because it is a little warm. All right, I think we're all set to get started. So meet me on your back. We'll start in Supta Baddha Konasana, which is reclined bound angle pose. And actually, I should say grab your blocks before you come down if you are using them, because you might want them for this pose to start. So in Supta Baddha Konasana, you'll lie on your back, you'll bring the bottoms of your feet together, knees bent, and then let your knees fall off to the side. So the heels can be as close or as far away from your hips as you'd like. You just kind of figure out what works for you. And some people like to just let their knees hover in air. Some people may be more flexible or open where their knees come down to the ground. And others like to put blocks underneath their knees. So again, depending on what you have and what you like, just do what works for you. I personally like to do it without the blocks and just have my knees hang out to the sides. Just make sure it's not painful for you. It can just be a gentle stretch here. And whatever you choose, just let your arms fall down to the side with the palms face up. Now you might have a little bit of arch in your spine, and that's okay. Let's see if you can reduce it. Maybe you pick your pelvis up, scoop your tailbone down, and then gently lower it back down to the ground. It might have reduced that arch a little bit. Bring more of your spine to the mat. And we'll just settle in. We'll be here for a minute or two as we start to check in and settle in to this time, this practice. Use this as a time to begin to deepen your breathing. Maybe begin to inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. By inhaling and exhaling just through the nostrils, that humidifies the air, that also reduces the volume of air you can inhale and exhale at one time. That kind of helps to prolong your breathing. It can assist with lengthening your breaths. Let your shoulders soften down. Your eyes can close or your gaze can soften. Maybe notice where in your hips or your knees or ankles or your feet, maybe your shoulders could use a little bit more attention. Maybe they're still a little bit tense, beginning to loosen up. Bring your awareness there and try to breathe into that area of your body. Now, my hips are usually pretty tight, so I try to envision myself breathing into that area to just loosen things up. Allow the space to open. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. One more deep breath. And gently begin to open your eyes back open if your eyes were closed. If you have blocks underneath your knees, you can gently place them off to the side up to the top of your mat. Then gently use your hands to lift your knees back up. Take your time. Have your knees over your heels. So bottoms of the feet are now on the ground, hips width distance. Bring your heels underneath your knees. You may need to walk your feet back to where your fingertips down graze the backs of your heels. We'll come in to do some dynamic bridge poses. So press down through your feet. We'll lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up. Lift the arms up and overhead. Let the thumbs down and the pinkies face up, arms overhead. Just stay for a moment. And exhale, gently release. Arms come down, roll down from the top of the spine, low back last to arrive. Let's keep doing that on our breath. So press down, inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up, arms come overhead. And exhale, gently release everything, slowly, arms down to the side. 2 more. Inhale as you lift the hips up, pelvis up, arms up overhead, thumbs down, pinkies up. Exhale, gently release with the palms down, low back last to arrive. 1 more. Inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up, arms overhead. And exhale, gently release down. Take a moment here. Now hug the right knee in toward your chest. Open up that right knee out to the side and place the outer edge of that right ankle on top of that left thigh. So we're in a figure 4. We'll come into dynamic bridge poses in our figure 4. So if this is too much for you, you can just repeat the bridge pose that we just did. Otherwise, it makes it a little more challenging balancing on just that one foot here. So begin with the arms down to the sides, palms face down. Be careful of your arm coming up over that knee. So we'll inhale as we lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up, arms overhead, press the thigh away. Exhale, gently release. We'll do a total of 4. So we'll inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up, draw that right thigh away. Exhale, gently release down. 2 more times here. Press down through the foot. Inhale, hips up, pelvis up, chest up, arms overhead. And exhale, gently release. 1 more time. Inhale, hips up, pelvis up, arms overhead. And exhale, gently release. So we'll switch to the other side. Bring that right foot to the mat. Hug the left knee into your chest. Open up that left knee out to the side, outside of the left ankle, on top of that right thigh. Both arms down to the side to start. Now press that foot into the mat, and on your inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up, arms overhead. Exhale, gently release, arms down to the side. Low back last to arrive. Inhale, lift up, hips up, pelvis up, arms overhead. And exhale, gently release, arms down to the side. 2 more times. Inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up. Draw that left thigh away. Exhale, gently release. 1 more time. Lift up, arms up overhead, left thigh away. And exhale, gently release those arms down to the sides. Release that left knee down. Hug both knees into your chest. Give a gentle squeeze. And now keeping that right knee in towards your chest, extend that left leg out. Let the left heel hover. Flex that left foot, toes and the knee faces up towards the ceiling. And spin this inner left thigh in and down. It'll really keep the knee and the toes pointing up. Now draw the right knee in towards that right shoulder as you extend that left heel out away from your body. Stay for one more breath here. Exhale, draw the left knee in toward your chest. We'll switch, hug the left knee in, extend that right leg out, flex that right foot. Heel is an inch or two off the mat. Toes and the knee faces up towards the ceiling. Spin this inner right thigh in and down. That keeps the knee and the toes pointing up. Draw that left knee in towards that left shoulder as you extend that right heel away from your body. Just breathe in to where it's sticky. And exhale. Draw both knees in towards your chest. Now re-extend that left leg straight out. Keep that left heel off the mat. Flex those toes just where we were before. This time release the arms down to the sides. But keep the triceps, keep the forearms off the mat. So your arms are hovering, legs are hovering. Now you can stay here if you'd like. Bring that right foot up towards the sky. So the bottom of the right foot faces up towards the ceiling. So you're drawing that right thigh back towards your shoulder, flexing both feet, spinning both inner thighs in and down. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Let's hug both knees in towards our chest. Switching sides now, keeping the left knee in, extend that right leg out. Right heel hovers. Release both arms to the side. Extend them straight out, but keep them off the mat, palms face up. You can stay with your left knee in, or if you'd like to straighten, press that left heel up towards the sky. So you're extending both heels away from your body, drawing both legs away from each other. Staying for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Hug both knees in towards your chest. All right, one more iteration on that. So extend that left leg out. Release the arms down to the side. Left heel still hovers with that foot flexed. Extend that right leg up to the sky. So we've been here before. If this is enough for you, stay here. Otherwise, we'll lift in the head and the shoulders off the mat. Hug that navel in and down. So bringing the core to this position now. Just stay for a breath. Now we'll stay up. Bring the right arm to the inside of that right thigh and start to pulse. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And gently release. Hug both knees in towards your chest. And we'll switch. So now extend that right leg out. Keep the right heel off the mat. Foot is flexed. Arms down to the sides. Hover, palms face up. And extend that left leg up towards the sky. Now bring the head and the shoulders off the mat. Stay here for a breath. Now bring the left arm to the inside edge and start to pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gently release. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Give a gentle squeeze. And gently rock from side to side. Let's massage that low back. All right, if you got through that, that was pretty tough. That's a little bit of core work to start the practice. I know I feel warmed up already. So come back to stillness. We're coming into tabletop. You can hold your hands behind your thighs, rock up and down your back a couple times if you'd like. Cross your legs, come forward into tabletop, or you can just let your knees fall off to the side and meet me in tabletop. Whatever works for you. In your tabletop, wrists are below the shoulders, fingers spread, knees directly underneath the hips, top to the feet to the mat. Start with a nice neutral spine, hugging the navel in and up, gently pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. Let's add our cow cats. So let's inhale, drop the navel, send the heart forward, look up. Exhale, round the back, tailbone drops, shoulder drops, head drops. Inhale, navel falls, heart comes forward, look up, cow. Exhale, round the back, shoulders separate, head hangs heavy. Let's do 2 more on your breath. Inhaling into your cow, tailbone lifts. Exhale, rounding the back. One more here, on your breath. Inhaling through cow, and exhaling through cat. All right, come back to neutral spine. Now, keeping the right knee bent, pick that right knee off the mat, flex the right foot, and lift that right knee up to hip height. So you're keeping that knee bent. So the bottom of that right foot should face up towards the ceiling. Extend that left arm forward, left palm faces in. This is a balancing pose. We'll add a little crunch to it, so we'll make it fun. So we'll inhale as we stay here. Exhale, crunch in, elbow to knee, round the back. Inhale as you extend, keep the knee bent the entire time. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch, round like you're in cat. Inhale, extend, keeping the knee bent, foot flex. Exhale, crunch. Gently release, we'll switch to the other side. Make sure those knees start underneath your hips, hands are shoulder width distance. So keeping that left knee bent, lift it off the mat, flex those left toes, and lift that left thigh up to hip height. Bottom of the left foot to the ceiling. Right arm forward, stay for a breath. And exhale, crunch as you round your back, elbow to knee. Inhale, re-extend. And exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend, bring that thigh all the way up to hip height. Exhale, crunch. One more here, inhale, extend. And exhale, crunch. All right, gently release that hand down, knee down. Bring those big toes to touch, separate the knees out to the side. Send the hips back to the heels, come into your child's pose. Release your forehead to the mat or to a block. Arms come out in front of you or down to your sides. Stay for a couple breaths in your child's pose. Know that child's pose is always an option if you need to recenter yourself, catch your breath, or just ground yourself. Anytime through practice, just remember this pose. Let's stay for one more breath. Let's inhale as we lift back up into our tabletop. So bring your hands back underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Now we'll come into puppy pose. So in our puppy pose, we'll keep our hips on top of our knees and we'll begin to walk our hands out. This is kind of like an in-between of a down dog and a child's pose. So keeping your hips on top of your knees, you'll extend your arms out. Maybe you release your forehead to the mat. Maybe your chin comes to the mat. Or if you're pretty open and mobile, maybe your chest comes to the mat. Your arms are still active. You can keep your forearms on the ground, but you're still gently opening those shoulders, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. This is a slight back bend. Again, keep those hips directly on top of the knees. We'll stay here for two more breaths. Just one more here. And exhale, gently walk yourself back up. Back into tabletop. Let's curl those toes under. Press those hands into the mat. Lift the knees up and back. Come into our first downward facing dog. You can keep your feet hips width distance if you like to separate them a little bit wider. If your hamstrings are still a little too tight, that's always fine. But wherever you are, just start to pedal out your legs. It's our first down dog, so we'll take our dog for a walk here. You can lift one heel and lift the other. Maybe you lift one leg and lift the other. And let's come back to stillness and our down dog. Now bring your feet to hips width distance. So if they were wider, bring them back to hips width distance. Bend your knees and walk your hands back one handprint. So you'll come into like a shortened down dog. Knees are generously bent. Your thighs may even touch or be close to your chest here. So you're still in your down dog, just a shortened one. We'll add a twist here. So come up on your left fingertips. So So you're balancing on basically three limbs here, just releasing or just on those left fingertips. And let's extend the left arm under and to the outside edge of that right leg. So you have some options. You can grab the outside of that right calf, outside of that left ankle, or just the out or right ankle, or outside of that right thigh. Just keep your knees bent here, and maybe add a twist. Turn from your navel up to look underneath that armpit up towards the sky. Just keep pressing that right hand into the ground, moving your chest back toward your thighs. Spin those inner thighs in and back. Stay for one more breath. Exhale, gently release that left arm down. Come up on those right fingertips. We'll switch to the other side. So now extend the right arm underneath. Grab the outside edge of that left leg or ankle or thigh. You can stay here if this is enough. Or turn from the navel in and up. Gaze comes up towards the ceiling underneath that armpit. Again, keep spinning those inner thighs in and back. That keeps those knees in line. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Begin to walk your hands back towards your feet and come into a standing forward fold. In your forward fold, just make fists with your wrists and just gently roll your wrists out. So roll them in one direction. Begin to slow and let's roll in the opposite direction. Let the head hang heavy, looking back in between the thighs. Knees can still be bent. And come back to stillness. Release your arms down. Let your head hang heavy. Stay for one more breath here in your forward fold. Nice calf stretch here. I will come up to standing. Be nice and slow. So press down through your feet and gently start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Head and the arms is the last thing to arrive. All right, once you're up, let's roll those shoulders up and back a couple times. Slow that, and let's roll them back and forward. All right, come and walk to the top of your mat now. Have your feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes, arms down to the sides, palms face forward. Draw that tailbone down towards the heels. Soften those shoulders away from the ears. Take an inhale here and exhale. All right, let's keep moving. Inhale the arms forward and up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms down. Step your right foot back. Step your left foot back into plank. We're staying in plank for a couple breaths here. Always have the option to drop your knees down. But either way, have your shoulders over your wrists, pressing down to the base of each finger and each palm, especially that index and thumb. And just like we've been spinning our inner thighs in and back, we'll spin them in and up towards the ceiling, raising our legs up, keeping them nice and straight, but keep pressing those heels back. Those shoulders should separate and go down your back. Head is nice and long, gaze is up towards the top of your mat. Staying for one more breath here in your plank pose. And now everyone drop your knees to the mat. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the ground. Uncurl the back toes, press the top of the feet into the mat. And on your inhale, lift your head up and your chest up. Baby Cobra. Exhale, gently release. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lift up. Baby Cobra. Draw those shoulders down your back. And exhale, gently release. Curl the toes under. Press yourself up into tabletop. And then lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Hands are shoulder width distance, feet are hips width distance here. Now, this time walk your feet towards your hands just about half a foot, so maybe 3 inches or so. So we're shortening up our down dog a little bit, but not quite as much as what we did earlier. Now we'll come into a figure 4 pose in our down dog, starting with the right leg. So bend that right knee, hug it in towards your chest, open that right knee out, and place the outside edge of that right ankle on top of that left thigh. So we're here before on our backs. Now once you're here, maybe you can press that left heel back and down towards the mat a little bit more. Really good back of the hamstring, back of the calf stretch here. Just try to keep your hips center. Keep pressing your chest back toward your thighs. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release back to where you started, and we'll switch to the other side. So feet or hips with distance. This time we'll bend that left knee in towards our chest. Open that left knee out to the side and place the outside of that left ankle on top of that right thigh. Now we're not pressing back with our left foot, we're just gently resting our ankle there, but we're pressing back through that right heel. Maybe that heel comes a little bit closer to the mat, or maybe if it's already there, you can feel a little bit more of a stretch. Just keep pressing that chest back toward your thigh. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release back into your down dog. One more breath here. And now inhale as you gaze forward. Bend those knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, the arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Let's keep moving. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Keep your left foot forward. Step your right leg back. Keep that right knee off the mat, but you can drop it if you need to. Otherwise, keep that right heel up. Left knee on top of that left ankle. Right arm comes directly underneath that right shoulder. If you have a block, you can place a block underneath your hand if you like doing that. Otherwise, that palm or fingertips can come to the mat. We're adding our twist here. So hug both legs in towards each other. Extend the left arm out to the side and inhale as you lift it up towards the ceiling, turning from the navel up, adding your twist here. Keep pressing down through that left heel. And again, that back thigh, that inner right thigh, you're rotating in and up towards the ceiling. That allows you to straighten that leg and keep it more engaged here. Maybe you can do a little bit less with your right hand, right fingertips. Hug both legs in towards each other. Maybe you can pick your hand up off the mat for a second. And exhale, let's gently release that left arm down. Now release the right knee to the mat if it's not already there. And we'll add our half splits here. So again, when we were in puppy pose, we kept our hip on top of our knee. So right now our knee is farther back. So if you like using your blocks here, you can place your blocks underneath your hands. That gives you a little bit more elevation. Otherwise, to come into our half split, we'll walk our hands back. That front foot will start to flex, toes come off the mat, but only go so far as to keep your hips still on top of that knee. Here we're drawing our left hip back and the right hip comes forward. So both the hips and the shoulders square forward. We're drawing those left toes back towards our body. Really should feel this in the back of the left leg. If you need to have a slight bend in that left knee, no problem. But try to keep the spine nice and long and send the heart forward towards the toes. You're either upright. If you want to start to bend forward slightly, you can let your head hang heavy, but still keep a nice long spine. We're here for 2 more breaths. Just breathe into that area that you think is just a little tight and wants to open. One more breath. And exhale. Let's gently come forward. Have that left knee back on top of that left heel. Right toes are curled under. Lift that right knee up. Staying low. Begin to walk your hands to the right as your toes start to turn and face towards the long side edge of your mat. So we're now in our forward fold. So stay with your torso parallel to the mat to start and your arms directly underneath your shoulders. Now again, if you want to have your blocks down, if you're not quite to the floor here, you can be on your palms, your fingertips, or the blocks can be underneath your arms. If your hands come to the mat, you can begin to start walking your hands back toward your heels as we start to forward fold here. Keep the neck long, so slightly tuck the chin. And as you fold, try to draw more weight into the toes, but keep your heels on the mat. So feet should be nice and parallel. See if you can draw those kneecaps up toward your hips. I know it's like a weird thing to imagine, even to do, but think about it. It might take you a couple tries for it to start to make sense. We're drawing those kneecaps up towards the hips. That really helps turn on the backs of your legs here. You can walk your hands back slightly more if you'd like. In your wide-legged forward fold. Really good hamstring stretch here. Just staying for one more breath. And exhale. Begin to walk your hands forward. Lift yourself back up halfway, but we're still staying low here. Now we'll walk over towards our right foot. So gently walk over towards the right foot. Come into your low lunge. So that right knee is bent on top of that right heel. Left foot on the left side of the mat. Now again, you can either have that knee up or knee down. In your low lunge here, we'll add our twist. So this time we'll release our left hand down, either the palm down, fingertips down, or on your block. Right arm out to the side, hug both legs in towards each other, and inhale, lift the right arm up to the sky. Turn that pinky side edge of that hand forward so the palm faces forward. Keep hugging both legs in towards each other. Spin that inner left thigh in and up towards the ceiling. Maybe you get a little bit lighter on those fingertips or the palm or the block. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Now drop that left knee down to the mat if it's not already. And we'll come back into our half splits here. So again, if you like to use your blocks, you can place them underneath your hands and walk back with them. Otherwise, you just gently start to walk back, straightening that right leg as the right foot starts to flex. Now only go so far as back to keep that hip on top of the knee. You can extend that right heel a little bit farther forward if you'd like. Get into a little bit deeper here. And then you can stay up, or if you like to add your forward fold, keep your back nice and long, spine long, and exhale, send your chest towards those toes. Slight tuck of the chin to elongate that cervical spine. Keep drawing that right thigh back as you keep the shoulders and the pelvis squared towards the back edge of your mat now. Let's just stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Right foot back to the top, right knee over that right ankle. Hands to the front, curl that left toe under, and step that left foot up to meet the right foot. We'll come into Padahastasana, which is we'll bring the backs of our hands to the mat with the fingers facing our heels. Bend your knees as much as you need to start. Once your hands are on the mat, you can slide those hands underneath your feet. So again, backs of the hands come to the mat, feet or hips with distance. If you can, see if you can bring the toes up to the wrists and just gently start to shift a little bit more weight into the toes. You can wiggle those toes to kind of massage your wrists here. This is a great combo of back of the leg stretch with a little bit of a wrist relief. You can let your head hang heavy here too. If you started with your knees bent, maybe you start to straighten them slightly. You can keep them bent as well. We're here for 2 breaths. Just one more breath. And exhale, gently release the arms out from underneath. Press your feet into the mat. And we'll inhale, come up to stand, arms up overhead. And exhale, palms down through center and down to the sides. All right, now let's bring our big toes into touch here. So big toes touch, heels separate, come into our chair pose. So we'll drop the hips back, knees bend, arms come forward, palms face each other. Make sure you can gaze down and see those toes. Maybe you sink a little bit deeper. Roll the pinky side edge of your arms in towards each other so that the palms face each other. Really brings on the turns on those triceps. We'll stay for a breath here. Now stay in your chair pose, but bring your hands to the center of your chest. We'll add a twist. So we'll inhale as we lengthen. Exhale, twist to the right. Turn from the navel up. Keep the knees and the hips just as they are. Now you can stay here, or if you want to release the outside edge of that left elbow to the outside edge of that right knee, you can twist here. Keep drawing that left thigh back. Most likely it came forward. Last option here, if you want to separate your arms, you can release the left fingertips to the mat, right arm comes up to the sky. But again, the idea here is to keep those hips square and level. Wherever you are, take one more breath. Exhale back to chair pose with the hands together. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, twist to the left this time, turning from the navel up. You can stay here if this is enough for you. You can rest the outer right edge of that right elbow on the left knee, the outer edge of the left knee. And if you'd like, you can split your arms. You release your right fingertips to the mat and extend the left arm up to the sky. Turn that pinky side edge towards the front, or I guess towards the back of your mat at this point. Draw that right thigh back. Most likely it came forward. Mine always does. Stay for one more breath. I know this is tough. Exhale, come back to center. And exhale, release down into your forward fold. Just stay for a breath here. Let's inhale halfway, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms down. Step your right foot back. Step your left foot back into your plank pose. We'll drop our knees to the ground. Shift our torso forward. Bend the elbows lower halfway. Got Oliver and uncurl the toes and lift up into your back bend. Maybe it's half cobra where you start to straighten the arms, or full cobra. Gently release the forehead to the mat. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift up into your baby cobra, half cobra as you start to straighten your arms, or full cobra maybe. Release that tailbone down towards the heels. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Let's curl those back toes under. Press yourself up through tabletop. Lift those hips up and back into our downward facing dog again. In your down dog, we'll bend that right knee. Keep that right knee bent. And lift that right thigh up to hip height again. So we're here in our tabletop, but this time we're doing it in down dog. Now we're going to open up the hip. So keep that right knee bent. And now open up that right hip so that the right knee comes out to the side. That left foot comes to the left side edge. Maybe you look up under that left armpit and you can see that right foot. But still try to keep your shoulders level and your hips level to the ground. Just stay for one more breath. Exhale, gently release that knee back to hip height, knee down, foot up. And now shift your torso forward, draw the right knee in towards your chest, and step that right foot up to the top of the mat. Keep that left knee off the mat and inhale the arms up overhead into your high lunge. Now release the hands down through the center of your chest. Take a breath here. Keep this right knee on top of that right ankle. Keep pressing that left heel back. Spin this left thigh in and up towards the ceiling. Now extend the arms out into a field goal post. So arms at shoulder height and then bend the elbows, palms face forward. We'll add a twist here. Inhale as we lengthen. And exhale, twist to the right. So we're twisting over that front foot. Keep hugging both legs in towards each other. Try not to think if this is stressful, if this is tough, if this is strenuous. Think about something that makes you happy. Keep those shoulders up at hip height. Maybe turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, come back to center. Now we're not done here. We're shifting forward into warrior three. So begin to shift your torso forward, press up off that left heel, lift that left heel off the mat, and shift your torso parallel with the mat. Left foot straightens and comes up to hip height. We're in our warrior three here with the hands at the center of our chest. Keep pressing that left heel back, spinning that left thigh in and up towards the ceiling. Release the shoulders away from the ears. Stay for one more breath. Exhale, bend that right knee. Release that left foot down. Come into your low lunge. Release the hands down. Send the right foot back to meet your left foot. Drop the knees down. Shift forward. Bend the elbows. If you want to lower halfway, you can uncurl the toes and then lift yourself up into your cobra or upward facing dog if you keep your legs off the mat. In your up dog, just the tips of your toes and your palms are on the mat. Roll the shoulders up and back. Draw the tailbone towards the heels. One more breath. And exhale, gently release down. Forehead to the mat. Curl the back toes under. Press yourself up through tabletop. Lift the hips up and back through downward facing dog. Just stay for a breath here before we switch to that other side. My apologies if this, just realized if we're facing towards the back of the mat and you had yourself set up to where you can see me only from the front of your mat, my apologies that we've been facing the back for so long. Okay, bend that left knee in towards your chest, flex that left foot, and then lift that left thigh up to hip height. Keep pressing that right heel down. Now we open that left knee out to the side so that the left foot falls to the right side edge. Maybe look underneath that armpit. You can see that left foot, but keep the shoulders squared down. Keep the pelvis square as well. Just stay for one more breath here. And exhale, gently release the knee back to hip height, foot up towards the ceiling. And shift your torso forward, elbow in towards the chest. Step the left foot up to the top of the mat. Keep that right knee off the mat. Inhale as you lift your arms up overhead. And exhale, hands down through the center of your chest. Let's check in. Keep this left knee on top of that left ankle. Make sure both feet are on either side of the mat as well. Keep spinning this right thigh in and up towards the ceiling. And now we'll add our field goal arm. So extend the arms out to the side, palms face forward, arms are shoulder height. Inhale as you lengthen, and exhale, twist to your left over that front leg, adding our twist here. We'll stay for a couple breaths. I won't hold it for that long. Again, go to your happy place if you need to. Keep hugging both legs in towards each other. That'll give you a little more stability here. Just one more breath in your twist. And exhale, gently release back to center. Bring both palms into touch. Now gently start to shift forward, press up off that back heel. We'll come into our warrior three. Lift that right leg up to hip height. Torso's parallel with the mat. Again, spin that inner right thigh in and up towards the ceiling. Firm this outer left thigh in. Keep pressing that right heel back, extending through the crown of your head. One more breath here in your warrior three. And exhale, bend that left knee. Lower your hands, lower the foot back into your low lunge. Take a breath here. And exhale, release that left leg back to plank. Drop the knees to the mat. Shift the torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the ground. Stay here for a moment. And now we'll come into Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, lift your torso up. Arms are shoulder width distance, but this time the elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. So make sure you have those relatively pretty much set up. I'm actually looking at the camera to make sure I'm set up okay here. So elbows under shoulder, palms down, shoulder width distance. Even this can be a stretch here, so try to release that tailbone down. Try not to crunch and really elongate the spine here. Now we'll have the option for half Dhanurasana here. So we'll start with the left leg. So bend that left knee, flex that left foot, so the bottom of the left foot faces up towards the ceiling. Take your right arm, so your opposite side arm, and extend it straight out, come up on your right fingertips. So the bottom ribs may come closer to the mat here, that's fine. Take your left arm, send it behind you, Grab the outside edge of that left foot. Roll that left shoulder up and back. Stay here if you'd like, or you have a couple other options. If you want to move further, press that left foot into the left arm and begin to lift that left thigh in and up off the ground, spinning that inner left thigh in and up towards the ceiling. Maybe your thigh lifts up, maybe just get the sensation. Last option, extend the right arm forward off the mat. Bring that right bicep up towards the right ear. Half Dhanurasana pose. Keep pressing that left ankle back into the left hand. Stay for one more breath wherever you are. And exhale, gently release. Just lower everything to the mat. Cross your hands at your elbows, make a little pillow. Release your forehead down. Bend both knees and just windshield wiper them from side to side. Just loosen up that low back before we move to the other side. So come back to stillness, release both feet to the mat. Come back into your Sphinx pose to start. So elbows underneath your shoulders. And we'll move to the other side. So begin by bending that right knee, bottom of that right foot up towards the ceiling. Extend that left arm straight out, left fingertips to the mat. Now you can stay here if this is enough for you. Otherwise, you can release that right arm back, grab the outside edge of that right foot. Next option, press that right foot into the right hand. As you spin that inner right thigh up towards the ceiling, begin to lift that right thigh off the mat. Last option, if you want, lift the left leg up towards the sky. Left palm faces in, so that bicep is next to the ear. Keep pressing the hips down into the mat. Press the bottom of that left foot into the mat. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release everything down. Make a little pillow for your head again. Let's bend both knees and gently windshield wiper them from side to side. Come back to stillness. Release both feet down. Place both hands beside your ribs. Make sure your wrists are directly underneath your elbows. So again, you may have to look back to see. Fingers are forward. Now curl your toes under. Begin to turn those legs on. So lift the knees up. Spin those inner thighs in and up. Press the hands down into the mat. Draw the shoulders up and back, elbows back. Press down through the mat, and on your next inhale, press up, lift up into your plank pose. Did you get there? If not, just meet us here in our plank. We're here for a couple breaths. Again, you can always drop your knees down. Stay for one more breath in your plank pose. And exhale, gently release the knees down if they're not already. Bring your knees together. Uncurl the back toes, tops of the toes come together. And just send your hips back into your child's pose. So hips back towards the heels. Release the forehead to the mat. Send both arms down toward your feet. So the backs of the hands are to the ground, palms face up next to your feet. Just let the shoulders be really heavy here. Just let them naturally protract, draw away from each other, down towards the mat. Let's take a couple nice deep breaths here. One more deep breath. And now release your hands back out in front. Lift your head up, your hips up. Raise your hips up off your heels. Send your legs and your feet off to the side. We'll come to a seat with our feet in front of us. Have your knees bent, feet hips width distance. Now we're sitting up this time with our knees bent. Keep your feet on the mat. So your feet are hips width distance, knees are hips width distance. We'll come into really 3 different versions of a reverse tabletop. And the different versions will require or will offer different options with the legs and the arms. So we'll start with this. So sitting up, place the hands behind you with the fingertips facing forward, and the fingertips are maybe an inch or two behind your hips. So the wrists are back, fingertips facing forward. Open the shoulders up and back so they really broadens the collarbones. Now press the feet down into the mat, and on your inhale, lift the hips up towards the sky. So in a reverse tabletop. Now as far as your neck, it can stay up looking up towards the ceiling, or if you're comfortable, slowly and gently let it release back. Just do what works for you. If you're looking up toward the ceiling, just keep it engaged. Keep pressing the feet down, spinning those inner thighs in and down, lifting those hips up. Maybe you can lift up a little bit more. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release the hips down. Let the head come forward and down. And just stay for a moment. All right, two more options here. Next option, we're going to reverse our hand position. So this time, the fingers will face away and the wrist will be just a couple inches back behind our hips. So this is just another version. It'll feel a little bit different in the shoulders. So you'll have something to compare to see which one you like more or dislike less. All right, feet and knees are hips width distance. Press your feet down, press your arms down. Roll the shoulders up and back, and on your inhale, lift the hips back up to hip height. Keep pressing the feet down, open up the shoulders, broaden the collarbones. Same option with the neck. If you want to gently let your head fall back, just be very gentle. Keep spinning those inner thighs in and down. Maybe lift your hips up a little bit more. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release the hips back down. Bring the hands in front of you. Just wrap them around your shins. And now we have one more version to try. So the full version of this pose involves straightening your legs. So I would say whatever version felt more comfortable for you with your wrists and your shoulders, do that with your hand positions. Either way can work. I personally like it with the fingers facing away. You may like it with the fingers facing forward. So I'm going to do it with the fingers facing away. But now start with your legs not fully straightened. You still have a slight bend in your knee. They'll straighten as you come up. And again, if this is just too much for you, just repeat what we did, or you can even just do a bridge pose if you're just basically like, I'm done for the day. Okay, so again, fingertips or wrists are a couple inches behind your hips. Now point the toes, press your heels into the mat, and on your inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up, point the toes down. Maybe the bottoms of your feet come to the mat. Keep lifting the hips up, roll the shoulders up and back, stay for just one more breath, and exhale, gently release. Whew, that's a tough one. Just release your arms forward, bend your knees, send your hips forward. Let's roll onto our backs, just nice and gentle. Once you're on your back, just walk your heels back to your hips. Draw your knees into your chest, and then let your knees fall off to the left side. Add a spinal twist. So with your knees together, make sure your knees are at least up at hips height. So we don't want them down here, we want them at least up at hips height. Now open up the shoulders, extend the right arm out, extend the left arm out, both palms face up. Try to keep that right shoulder on the mat. If you need to, place a block underneath your knees in order to keep that right shoulder on the mat, you can do that. Some people like to put a block in between both knees as well. Still works for you. But really, we want this to be a full spinal twist. So having the knees at least up at hips height releases eases the strain on your low back, really. And then keeping that right shoulder rooted helps to make this a full spinal twist. Last option, just turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. And just take some nice deep breaths here. Take one more deep breath. And come back to center. Draw both knees in. You can recenter your hips and then let your knees fall off to the right side this time. Again, keep those knees up at hip height. Have both arms still extended out, shoulder height, palms face up. And again, move your block to the opposite side if you are using that. Keep that left shoulder rooted, and you have the option to look and turn that neck over towards those left fingertips. Just stay for a couple breaths here. Now let's turn back to center. Draw those knees back up. Release the feet to the mat. Recenter those hips. Release the arms down to the sides. Now bring your arms up above you so that the fingers face up towards the ceiling. And we'll imagine the arms as now like wet spaghetti noodles. I know it sounds funny. Just let them be heavy and just let them hang out. This kind of releases the wrists, releases the arms. I know it sounds funny, but that's the best way I can describe it. Just let them be wet spaghetti noodles here. Rolling the wrists out, elbows out, arms out. Keep going just for a couple more seconds. And just gently release those arms to the side. Let's draw the knees into your chest. One last squeeze. And exhale, extend the legs straight out. Extend the arms overhead. So point the toes, extend the fingertips away from the body. One last full body stretch. Just stretch, stretch, stretch. And exhale, gently release. Arms come down to the sides. Coming into our Shavasana pose, you have the option if you want to do your Shavasana as we started practice in our Supta Baddha Konasana. That's where we brought the bottoms of their feet together and let the knees fall off to the side. You can do that. Or if you want to stay in your traditional Shavasana, you let your knees and your feet just gently fall off to the side. Either way, have your arms down, palms face up. As you begin to settle in, your eyes can start to close or just let your gaze be soft. Just check in if there's any last little parts of your body that need to release. Maybe your toes are still clenched. See if you can release the tip of your tongue off the top, the roof of your mouth. Release that bottom jaw away. Maybe you can unfurl your brow. Let the shoulders be heavy. Let your whole body be heavy. Just settle in and trust that your body knows what to do now. You got through practice and did some good work. Focused on your breath. Just appreciate the stillness here. And just begin to bring some awareness back into your body. If you're in your Baddha Konasana, you can gently release the blocks off to the side and gently re-extend your legs straight out. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes and rotate your wrists and your ankles. Switch directions in those rotations and come back to stillness for one last breath here on your back. And gently begin to bend your knees as you roll over to one side of your body. As you roll over, let your top arm rest on your bottom, your top knee rest on your bottom knee. Stay for a breath here on your side. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze softened, use your top arm to gently press yourself up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position to complete your practice today. Once you're in your comfortable cross-legged seat, you can rest your palms on top of your knees. Your palms can face up, or you can bring your hands into the center of your chest. Let's all take a nice deep inhale in together and exhale. Thank you for joining me in practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening on your pre-holiday day, or maybe you had off today as well and your holiday has already started. So I appreciate you spending time today and really be grateful for yourself just for showing up and being here for class today. So if you ever have any questions, you can always leave them in the chat, leave little comments. I always appreciate the feedback you all give me. If you'd like to donate, that donation link is always in the video description. I really appreciate everyone that's used that link and has reached out to me to just let me know that they've supported in that way. I really appreciate that. So thank you all for that. And I guess I hope you feel great. Take this into the weekend. Enjoy your holiday weekend here. Classes will resume next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, again, with just things opening up, kind of opening up. Um, my schedule may change in the future, so I'll be sure to let you all know on here and on my Instagram as well. I'll probably provide an update there. So again, thank you again so much. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next time in practice. Again, my name is Daniel. Peace.